Hey, ladies and gentlemen, this is Zeriko Kathos with Demonosophy and Beyond. And I'm coming to you to just share an experience that I recently had. I've been working with Akate again and just boning up on my necromancy, trying to get in touch with the other side of the veil for some wisdom and knowledge. And so what I did was, with working with Akate, I'm kind of going through the different levels of the underworld. So I started off with the first level, which is basically surface, and it looks a lot like this reality here. But my experience happened on, I guess, what you would call the second level. I asked Takate if she could take me to one level farther down. And in this kind of dream vision, I was in a basement, and the basement had different corridors that were at weird angles. It was kind of like spelunking in a cave. No real architect in this reality could create it. And there was a window where I could look out at the front steps. So I walked over to the window, and at first there were a bunch of black guys, with dreadlocks, just hanging out. And it really didn't bother me. I was more like looking at their hair because they had different style of dreads, and I was just admiring that. And suddenly they disappeared, and they were replaced by a group of women of different skin tones. And this kind of got my curiosity because they weren't putting off any demonic energy. So on closer inspection, these women looked human, but some of them were not normal looking. Like their limbs and stuff were different proportions. So when I got closer to them, they were basically finger banging each other. And so I opened up the window to ask what was going on, and one of the women that looked normal handed me what I thought was a doll. But when I looked down at the doll and I was touching the doll, it was moving and it looked human. So, I don't know, in my logic, I'm figuring, hey, maybe this is this is an individual with a condition, and that's what I asked. I said, does this woman have a condition? And they were kind of like, no. I guess they were amused, but it was kind of like, no, like this is her normal state of being. And one of the women came through another window, and I think they were trying to entice me into having sex with them, but I was just kind of more curious about who and what they were. And I got some touchy-feely time in, but I didn't have sexual intercourse with any of them. And I could see that they were coming into what I assumed was my house in that area, and they were bringing pornographic material in there. Mainly magazines. So there was one woman, she looked normal, but she might have been Faye, and she was just walking into my basement and, putting pornographic material down and then walking out. So as she was walking out, I said, can you please not bring any pornographic material? Like, this is my house. And we had ourselves a little confrontation. But when I woke up from this dream vision, the thing that popped into my mind automatically was, I've just had an encounter with the Fae. And it was weird. It's not necessarily impossible, because I know that the demonic and Fae can have interactions, but it was never my goal to interact with the Fae. However, I do think that I have had prior experience with them because I've been watching some videos about what it's like to have Fae encounters. I have had random items go missing, including a pair of pants that I really liked, and never come back, or reappear in a spot that would be obvious for me to find it. I've also seen balls of light that have kind of followed me around, and like when I turn around to look at them, they would zip away, almost like a mouse scurrying when it gets, caught, seen. I guess that my attachment to nature could also have drawn them, but I'm not really sure. Another funny part about the encounter that I almost forgot was that they were kind of wearing garbage. Like they had just raided a dumpster at a hospital. They were wearing like tubing and IV bags on their feet, tubing for belts. And I don't know much about the Fae. If there are any viewers out there who do have experience with them, definitely strike up a conversation with me. I am definitely out of my depth when it comes to the fairy folk. So any, pointers that anyone can give me would definitely be welcome. I also plan on doing my own reading to see what I can glean. However, I have a lot of reading projects in the works right now, so I'm kind of bogged down.